right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Small Town Horror with Johnny and Randy. I'm Johnny.
This is hurting my cheeks.
I'm Randy. For all you audio listeners, Randy was doing his creepy smile.
Yeah, well, my normal smile
I
is
was
pretty creepy,
fixing
so
the same thing, yeah.
Oh, tell you.
So this is the fun. So I'm gonna keep that in. So this is the month.
This is the fun?
Yeah, this is the month of February. Hey, we're not perfect.
No, well,
Nobody is.
Clearly.
But anyway, we are celebrating the month of February with not only Smile 2,
Smile Tus, Dos.
but you're also going to be getting a new release from the theaters. Yes, and I believe it is called
Heart Eyes?
Hard Eyes, I believe.
I think it's Heart Eyes.
A new Valentine's slasher movie, which I'm excited about because
Trailer looked pretty legit.
it did. And even if it's, I don't know if it's a horror comedy or what it's based on. I don't know anything about it when we saw the trailer when we went to see Nosferatu. But I'm just like, a Valentine's Day movie.
Finally a new one.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get another stash.
Yeah, maybe.
I doubt it.
But
there's only one stash.
Well, we've been trying to figure out, what we were going to do with Heart Eyes this month. And we were like, man, I don't know. And Randy has been talking about doing Smile 2. So it was like, man, let's just get it over with. Let's check it out. And so now this is going to be our review on Smile 2. But we have been talking about doing the Insidious universe sometime this year. Yeah, all of them this year.
And then we got bad news.
Yep.
Insidious 6. Push back to next year.
Yeah.
Poopy!
So are we going to try to do it this year, or are we going to try to wait till next year?
I say the heck with it. I say do it. I just want to do them.
You just want a reason to watch them.
I just want a reason to watch them again.
Right. But that'll be coming later this year. We haven't decided exactly when we're going to do it yet. And
eventually we're going to give you all the Scream movies.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wanting to wait, though, for Scream 7.
I don't want to wait.
It comes out this year, don't it? I think so. I am getting nervous.
Did you see it?
Yes, and that's
Did you see it?
I was just fixing to say that. I am so nervous about Scream 7 because I feel like now they're just starting to throw everything against the wall because...
I think this is it. I think this is the last one.
It should be.
I think this is their, hey, we're ending it and we're going out with a bang. It's going to be a Scream, baby.
I think they absolutely ruined it by letting everyone know that Matthew Lillard is coming back in Scream.
I'm torn because I'm glad that he's going to be back.
Oh, I'm glad he's back.
But I'm like, oh, wish I didn't know until the movie.
Right. And
at least in the trailer. At least give you a hint in the trailer.
And here's another thing. We don't know if he's coming back alive or if he's going to be in flashbacks, kind of like Billy.
Yeah.
We don't really know how they're going to use him. But I just wish that they didn't spoil everything. And the reason I'm worried about Scream 7 is because I feel like they know they messed up with the whole Neve Campbell thing in Part 6, which I really enjoyed Part 6.
I thought 6 was good.
But now that she's back, I feel like they're like, well, we got to get everybody back on track because so many Scream fans were upset about Sidney Prescott not being in the last one. So now it's like, well, let's give him Matthew Lillard. Well, let's get him Neve Campbell. Now we're going to try. And I'm just like, quit throwing everything against the wall. Focus on the screenwriting. Focus on the story. Let's make sure it's going to be good.
What if it all ends in Woodsboro?
I mean, where else is going to end at?
That would be awesome.
But like I said, I mean, and I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm just nervous that they're trying their hardest to make it like an epic finale, but is it going to fail? But I just wish they hadn't announced Matthew Lillard because I do feel like if you'd been at the theater, because now when we go watch it, we're going to be there. We're going to be looking for Matthew Lillard. Yeah. And I hate that. If we hadn't known anything about it and he pops up, you're like, oh.
I mean, let's be fair and let's be honest. As much as we've been talking about it, we were going to be looking for Matthew Lillard anyway.
Well, but knowing that he is going to be in it, now you're like, all right, I know when's he going to pop up,
I wonder if they did it as one of those elaborate, hey, This guy's gonna be in it, and then surprise, he's not.
Oh no, he'll be in it.
He'll be in there and like in credits only.
Yeah,
It'd be like one little 5-minute flashback scene.
and everybody will go nuts over it, and then everybody's gonna have hate on it too. And
Yeah, you're probably right.
but
Anyway, I honestly do think this is their last ditch effort to end the series.
what? And like, I mean, you talked about, and yes, we're talking about Scream right now, but guess what? This is a horror podcast, so
This is what we do.
Yeah.
Baby.
I did like Jenna Ortega's character, and I can't think of the other actress's name. Played her older sister.
The
5
one
and
that played
6.
Billy Loomis's daughter.
Yes,
Yeah.
I thought they did a phenomenal job.
Oh yeah, they played really well together.
But I did feel like in part 6, their story was done. Remember when she had Billy Loomis's mask, and then she just threw it down, and her and her sister walked off.
Yeah,
it was like they got their happy story, happy ending.
and you know, honestly, if they decided to end the whole series right there, it would have been. It would have been okay.
Until I see Gail Weathers gone, that's when I'll be happy. I cannot stand Gail Weathers.
What are you gonna do?
Don't.
If we know 100% that this is the last Scream movie, and Gail Weathers makes it all the way to the end,
I'm gonna be upset because I can't. I hope if they do bring Matthew Lillard back, I hope he kills Gail Weathers because I can't stand her. I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of people love her. I liked her in part 1, and the rest of them, I thought she was just.
she was good in 2.
She may have been good. The acting was good, but I didn't care for her. But these last 2 really made me just. Ugh.
He's just got a thing with like if it's an actor, an actress he don't like the movie. But he can't say that because this is Scream.
I was fixing. I do like the movies. The only one I don't like in Scream is Scream 3. That's like my least favorite.
That's because that was the worst one. And even still, you know,
it's still watchable.
Yeah, it's still watchable.
Yeah. But no, like I said, we will be doing the Scream franchise. We're trying to wait and see exactly when Scream 7 is going to be coming out.
I figure it'll be somewhere around October.
That'd be nice. But no, as far as we're concerned, I know we were talking about doing the 2013 remake of Evil Dead, which you've never seen, and I think you're really going to dig it.
Never seen it, and we're planning on doing Evil Dead Rise.
Yes, which we have
watched.
We just never did a episode over it, which we both dug Evil Dead Rise, so that is cool. And did you see that they're making a new one now?
A new Evil Dead?
Yeah.
It's with Bruce, isn't it?
I mean, he may be a producer in it.
Yeah.
But it's called Evil Dead Burn, I believe.
I think you did tell me that.
Yeah, so. Hey, I'm being honest with you. The Evil Dead franchise, they can keep making them. And I love Bruce Campbell and I love the Ash character. But they've really shown, like in the 2013 remake, if you want to call it a remake, I mean, it is to me.
Yeah.
And then the Evil Dead Rise, they really show that with the right person directing it and writing it, and even Bruce Campbell has his hands in it, they can make a really good film. And I think they can expand on it.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the good thing about having open-ended concepts.
Yeah.
Like Smile. Smile is a movie. So far, the way they've ended both movies, this whole franchise could go forever with the way they lay these stories out.
Yeah.
It really could. Because there's no set person through either of the movies that has to go to the next one.
Right.
So, without getting into too much detail, yet.
So, Randy,
yeah,
it's time for you to read that summary, man.
You know what? Let me pull the summary up because I got so busy pulling the plot up for you, I forgot to pull up my summary. But anyway, I got your summary, man.
Right on.
About to embark on a world tour, global pop sensation Skye Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and the pressures of fame, Skye is forced to face her past. Da-da-dum.
Da-da-da-dum.
Da-da-dum.
Right on, man. Do-do. Do-do-do. So, all right. Smile 2 was released in 2024, and it is rated R, and it is categorized as horror mystery, and it is 2 hours and 12 minutes long.
I think that's a good category.
The horror mystery?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was worried that they would put slasher in it,
Mm-hmm.
but no, horror mystery is really good.
So in the cast, we have starring Naomi Scott as Skye Riley, Ray Nicholson as Paul Hudson,
Looks just like his dad.
Lucas Gage as Lewis, a guy that I really think is a really good actor, and I wish he could have been in the film more. Kyle Gallner, he played Joe from the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Galula, I believe her name is. She plays Gemma.
Looks like it.
And Rosemary DeWitt plays Elizabeth Riley. Peter Jacobson plays Morris. And that's all I'm pretty much going to read.
Yeah. Those main peoples.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than all the extras that were smiling.
So IMDb scored this film a 6.8 out of 10. And Rotten Tomatoes gave this film an 86%. This film was directed by Parker Finn, written by Parker Finn, and the budget for this film was $28 million. And it grossed $138.1 million. So it definitely made its money's worth.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the numbers don't lie.
You can't, I mean, Smile was hyped.
Yeah.
The first Smile was hyped.
Yes.
You remember all the promos they did with
man, yeah.
Like in the news and like sports and stuff like that. They just had paid people to go around and smile in front of like
baseball games
and standing outside the window of some kind of news.
That was my favorite one.
That was a trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was ingenious PR.
Yes.
That was insane.
Yeah.
I don't know who came up with that, but
I hope they got a big fat bonus check for that.
2 thumbs way up.
Yeah, definitely.
Genius.
All right, so now it is time to actually get into the actual film. And I'm going to say before we get into the scale that this film is the perfect example of sequels don't always match the first one, and there's no need for sequels for every single freaking movie that is made. I don't know if you knew that's where I was going or not.
No, that isn't where I thought you were going.
But I say let's go ahead and get into the pulling scale because there's more that I want to talk about. But I just feel like going into this one, I was really hyped for it, for Smile 2, because I did like Smile. The first one was really good.
Uh-huh.
But with that being said, I think it's time that we both go to the pulling scale.
The pulling scale?
The pulling scale.
The pulling?
Scale.
Pulling.
Scale. No more. So
it's over there.
Yeah, but it's out of the camera shot. So, but I'll go first on this one. So, my feeling on this film is it truly felt 2 hours and 12 minutes long. Like I said at the beginning, I feel like this is the perfect example that not every movie needs a sequel. I'm going to use this to my best example. I really enjoyed it, the first one, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 2 sucked.
Yeah.
Sorry to the ones who love it, but there was nothing scary, nothing good, the storyline, nothing. I just feel like they should have wrapped all that crap up in the first one and been done and not make a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, going into Halloween 2018. Love Halloween 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoy Halloween Kills. Should have wrapped it up with those 2 stories and not made it Halloween Ends. You drug it out.
Well, I mean, I think we both agreed they needed to take the ending from Ends and put it in Kills, and it would have been good.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I get you on that one.
House of Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Devil's Rejects was the perfect ending for that storyline and for those 3 characters. Here comes 3 from Hell. Not every horror movie needs a sequel. And going into this, there was nothing new, in my opinion. There was nothing... I don't know if I'm just to the point to where I've watched horror movies so much that I don't really get scared anymore.
He is.
But, so having said that, watching Nosferatu made me jump 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
This film was not scary to me at all. And even the spots where they wanted it to be creepy, and I'm going to go with where she's walking down the hallway and she sees all of her backup dancers.
Mm-hmm.
Not once did that look creepy to me. It just looked like people smiling coming toward her. I don't know. It just, this film, the first one, there was parts that made me go, oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Or, oh, dude, that ain't right. This one, I was just like, it had me intrigued. At the first 10 minutes of it really had me intrigued. I was like, oh, okay, so they brought the main actor back from the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And I love his acting. And I did like that whole storyline because we knew what he was doing while he was going in there. And as soon as he got ran over, I was like, oh, man.
He's like, maybe he's still alive.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, his foot is still in his boot,
Yeah.
and his boot is not on his leg.
But that part, and then the last 15 minutes of the movie where she leaves the, I guess you would say the little rehab center, wherever
Mhm.
she was at resting, from that point to the end, that was like fast pace and getting going. That is the problem to me with movies like this, is you have to feel so much time before you can insert a scary spot in it that it becomes boring to me. The Grudge, I like The Grudge, but there is spots that's just like, oh
See,
my gosh,
I couldn't stand The Grudge.
you couldn't see,
Never could get into it.
but when it was creepy, in my opinion.
No, only the little,
Well, but that was the thing.
little
But
kid.
this movie to me just wasn't creepy as the first one.
No.
I feel like they really made a good impression with the first one. They're like, man, we gotta get another one out. That's just my opinion.
Go ahead and do your thing.
But having said that, as far as my grade, I will say I don't recommend you to watch it. I will give it a thumbs down. Don't add it to your collection. If you do like the first Smile, stick with the first Smile. And before I give the final grade, I will say the main girl's acting, I don't know her name.
I want to play Skye.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
was phenomenal. Her facial expressions, fantastic. Her acting was good. Way too many F-bombs in this movie for me. Way too many. So, thumbs down. I don't recommend you to watch this. Don't add it to your collection. And I'll give this movie a solid D.
So it was bound to happen again eventually.
All right.
Completely way off target for both of us. Because my thing about this movie is not just basing it as a horror movie, but a psychological horror movie.
Okay.
Because this isn't your classic, oh, there's a killer, there's a demon. It's none of that. This is all about one person going psychotic and nobody knows it but her.
Yeah.
So when I look at this movie and I'm judging this movie, yes, I judge it as a horror movie, but I judge it as a psychological horror movie.
Gotcha.
Because it's all about, it's in her head.
Yeah.
And everything is driving her crazy through the whole movie. No, there wasn't any jump out scream moments, but you can't sit there and tell me, like, when her mom just grabbed that shard of glass and just started stabbing herself, that wasn't like freaky.
It wasn't. It was predictable.
But yeah, but it was still freaky. You and me both said in the very beginning of it, when the dude stabbed him in the chest, me and you both were like, oh man.
In the chest.
When he had the dude by, and he was like, I need you to watch this.
Oh yeah,
and then
that.
Started carving him up.
Yeah, that was like a John Wick move.
Yeah, like just doing all the stuff.
But it wasn't freaky. It was neat. It was cool.
Oh, cool. It was carving them up. Anyway, yes, I agree. The movie was long. The movie needed to be about an hour and a half long. It was constantly drug out. There were scenes in it that just further deepened her psychotic moments and her going into psychotic that probably could have been trimmed out.
Yeah.
And it probably could have been about an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
I will agree with that. It did feel like a long movie. But for me, the psychological aspect of it kept me intrigued in it. I'm more apt to sit through a 2-hour movie or 2.5 hour movie if whatever's going on is intriguing. Yes, a lot of the parts were predictable. But how far can you go with it when the main psychotic aspect of it is just people smiling. I mean, there's only so far you're going to be able to take it.
And they don't need to make another one.
But see, and that's where I disagree with you. Because this is, for me, the perfect example of a movie that can keep going forever. Because there's no plot as far as this person has this thing going on and this killer keeps getting away. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, this movie ends the exact same way the first one ended. With the demon popping out and going inside the girl's body.
Yeah.
Different settings, obviously different girl. But it's the classic bad guy wins type thing. But the bad guy is an entity instead of an actual person. And the way it ends, it opens it up for thousands of people to be infected with the smile entity. You don't need a star actor. You don't need a famous woman or a famous guy to keep the whole thing going.
Right.
You don't need any one person. Scream. Perfect example. Neve Campbell made Scream. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Neve Campbell made Scream what it was.
Yeah.
She was perfect. And what did we say about the one that came out last year? 6.
She wasn't in it.
She wasn't in it, and it wasn't as good. Scream, to me, is Neve Campbell. In so many movies, she was the main focus, and she was the driving force behind the movie.
Right.
Yeah, the movies were still good, and there were still different aspects of the movie that were great. But that was your heroine.
Yeah.
That was Neve Campbell. You don't need that in this movie. And to me, personally, that stems from a good idea and a good plot. Could be directed differently, all this kind of stuff. I think the smile aspect of it and the creepy smiles is the scary moments. Because once you see somebody smiling like that, you're like, okay, this is happening.
Yeah.
The dance team thing, that was kind of goofy looking. But when they all caught her in the living room and started swinging her around and slamming her around, that was like, all right, this is getting serious. No, it wasn't better than the first one. The first one was better. Hands down. But to me, this was still a good movie. From a psychological aspect of it. I thought the acting was great. I really hate the fact that I have to go against what I just said, and I wish the main actress in this one was in the next one because she did such a great job.
Her facial expressions were on point.
She is an amazing emotional actor for sure, or actress for sure. But that's the thing. Like, this is the kind of plot that you can just keep going with because you don't have to tie it back to anyone in particular.
Right.
The story just keeps going on. And like Morris, when he was brought in, he was talking about this has happened to 8 people before you. Then you just keep carrying it on. And this has happened to 9 people before you. This has happened to 10 people before you. And you could just keep carrying this on. Now, how far they do, it remains to be seen. I haven't looked and compared how well this one did compared to the other one.
Yeah.
Obviously, it did great opening weekend because everybody was so excited to see Smile 2.
Yeah.
But my scale, I'm giving a thumbs up. I think it's one of those movies, like you watch the first one, watch the second one where they're going with it. I'm interested to see if they do a third one, just to see how different they make it. If they make a third one, and it is copy, cut, and paste, all right, you're done.
Yeah.
You just be done with it. If you can't come up with different aspects of the same plot and it's time to cut it loose. Come up with something else. But I'm going to give this one a thumbs up. I think it's worth a watch. If you add the first one into your collection, put this one in there too. And I'm going to give this a B.
This is one of the first times. It ain't the first time, but it's one of the first times that me and you were
like complete opposite spectrum.
I mean, like, I'm trying to think, man. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
I think some of the Rob Zombie films, The Devil's Rejects.
I think Devil's Rejects, yeah.
And now
not very many.
Smile 2. Yeah, I mean, there's not that we totally disagree on.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing, so that's
yeah.
Okay, so now we'll go ahead and get into it. The only thing that I think would be intriguing in the third one is if all them people is possessed. and you
It's just a giant
cluster.
cluster of.
Yeah.
Well,
But
hey, they did that in Evil Dead Rise. They put them all together in a cluster and started crawling around a garage.
I just, man, I don't know. It just, that's what I'm saying. The movies like, okay, do you like The Ring? Oh, like a perfect example. Perfect example. You like The Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
Do you like Signs?
Not as much as The Sixth Sense.
But I'm just saying.
It wasn't my favorite.
I hear a lot of people say Signs is one of the best horror movies, blah, blah. Sixth Sense is one of those movies I have not watched since I was a teenager, I guess, because it was one of those, I'm doing this the whole time. Oh, something scary happens. All right. Okay, now I'm back to this again.
See, if it doesn't have blood and gore,
no!
Them psychologicals.
Wait, you can't say that because I love The Shining. And there was only one kill scene in that Shining movie. Okay, see? You can, yeah, so.
One movie. He found one movie.
1408.
No, that's a freaking creepy movie.
But it's a psychological movie.
Yeah, it is.
And that's in my top 10 horror movies of all time. See? I'm always going to bust you, bud.
I found two.
Terrifier is way better than that. No seriousness. Like, the acting, I did feel like the acting was good. Like, definitely. I mean, there's no denying that. I wasn't a big fan of the whole pop thing about
her being a pop star.
Yeah, I wasn't a real big fan of that. Only because if they were going to do it, I would have liked to seen her more. The scene where we got with the fans when she was signing autographs, I like that kind of stuff. That scene was my favorite scene of all of it. I wish we could have seen more of that, like maybe her doing a rehearsal or something more where she sees people in the audience, or even getting into the tour. I thought would have been cool.
Yeah,
but you see what I'm saying? I mean, it was
I can see that.
I thought that would be a little bit more cool.
I mean, you did get one rehearsal at the very beginning, or closer to the beginning of it, with her back, and that's what led into the Lewis's house. And then the one rehearsal, it was like a complete dress rehearsal, and then she seen the face. She acted like she thought she broke a leg, which freaked me out at first. I just thought, I get what you're saying. Like, it would have been cool for her to go, like, be in the middle of a concert and something happened.
Like, even just looking down the front row and there's a little girl just smiling at her, and then she look over here and another one. I thought that'd be cool to see.
But I think if they had done that throughout the movie, I think it would have taken away from the fact that the final, the finale, Act 3 finale, was her in the middle of a concert, and then bam, the demon shows up.
Right.
I think it would have taken away from it.
So, what was your feeling as far as the third act, where when she sees her mom doing that?
I thought it was great.
I really thought you was going to agree with me. This man took a phone call.
I did, and I was watching it the whole time.
Was you really?
Yeah, I was watching it the whole time.
I actually went to grab the remote to pause it, and I was like, he ain't that interested.
Shoot, no. I dug it. I did. Now, it wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, and it's not my favorite movie. It probably wouldn't make my top 10.
Oh, no.
No. But it was interesting enough to me as looking at it from a psychological aspect, not just a horror aspect.
Yeah. And that is where me and you totally separate ourselves more, because you've always said it. You like a more well-written, you'll watch a 2-3 hour movie with a storyline.
As long as it's story-driven, it can keep my attention.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think you even said you like a couple of Paranormal Activity ones.
First 2, maybe 3.
And see, to me, they're absolute trash.
Yeah. It's not.
But that's what I'm just using that for example. I'm not saying like you're your favorite.
That's another university.
No. But yeah, it's just one of them where I'm just like, daggum, man. You know, it's like I said, I enjoyed the acting, but like the music didn't stand out to me whatsoever. The camera shots didn't stand out to me at all.
Camera shots did.
Did it?
That and it was predictable. I'll give you that. They were predictable camera shots where she would be looking around at something, and then the camera would slowly pan back, and bam, there would be the guy's face.
But they did play a lot where you would think it was going to happen, and it didn't.
And it didn't. Now, the scene where she's standing in front of the mirror and she hears the splat behind her, she turns around and look, he's not there. And then she turns back and looks at the mirror, and he's standing right behind her. And you can't see anything but her. and then his like outline. She turns around, he's not there. Turns back, he's still there. And then it flashes, and he grabs her face, makes her smile. That was legit.
Did you get thirsty through this movie?
I don't know, but she was gulping down them Voss waters
every
like
time.
Crazy.
Every time she opened the water, I was over there going. It's like I was getting so thirsty, man. I was like, "Dang, gummit."
It was crazy because like every time she grabbed one of them balls of water, I kept thinking about grown-ups. Somebody get some Voss water.
Yeah,
for the Hollywood kid.
I'm just actually really surprised, but I'm happy that me and you took away two separate views of this movie, because I got a coworker I work with, and he said he liked the movie, but he hated the ending. He thought the ending was stupid.
No, I thought the ending was perfect.
I was fixated. As soon as I seen the ending and it went to black, I was like, man, wasn't nothing wrong with that ending.
No, the ending was perfect. The ending for this one is exactly how the ending should be on this one, if they planned on doing the third one.
So let me ask you, when she was in the freezer at the end of the film, was that really happening?
No. And the way I'm taking it over, because even the entity said itself, this isn't real. When she went to stab herself in the neck, everything started blacking out, and then everything came back into focus. Yeah. She said, "You're not in control. This isn't even real."
Okay, and the reason I was bringing that up is because I can't remember the guy's name that was with her. Morse. When he was like, "I'll be right back. Don't move," and he put the thermometer in her mouth. Yeah. When he went, he said it, and I didn't know if you caught it because you were on the phone at the time, but he was like, "We have to keep this cinder block here because if the door shuts, it can't open from the inside, the freezer." I thought what he was going to do was leave, pull that cinder block, and shut the door.
And just leave her in there.
And that's what I was sitting there thinking the whole time. I was like, why do you not just do that? Because she's going to eventually die in there.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? And I was like, I mean, yes, that's cruel to say, but I'm like, if you're wanting to get rid of this entity so bad, just shut the door.
Yeah. I mean, he could have.
But then that's why I was asking, was it real? Because if it wasn't real.
No, I don't think it was real. I really can't tell you where reality stopped and that whole hallucination started. I'd have to watch it again just to see if you can even catch it and pick up on it.
Well, my thing is when the mother killed herself and then it cut over and it was her all covered in blood. The entire time, which is a good thing for somebody with, because they're wanting you to be intrigued and watching a movie, you're second guessing the character and you're thinking about, well, is this real? But the first thing I thought in my mind is, well, there's no way she's getting out of here. Like, even if she did get rid of the entity, she's still going to go to jail.
Yeah.
And then.
But see, that's something I don't think that they did in the first one.
What do you mean?
I don't think in the first one they had the person going crazy cease, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Whatever you got to do. But I can't remember. I have to go back and watch it again. I can't remember in the first one if whoever was dealing with it envisioned somebody smiling and killing themselves and it actually being them. They're the ones that killed the person. I can't think of it. It might have happened, but I can't think of it.
Right.
So I'm looking at it like that's something different about this one is now they've got this person killing other people. Which, granted, it wasn't real. It ended up not being real, but it was still in there and it was still a major plot twist.
Right. I do feel like I said the last 15 minutes was the best part because it really got you going.
When she did that and everything started cranking up and she was running, it was almost like they took Crank and just like started blasting it out.
I will give it props on this. When Gemma called her and she was like, hello, and she was like, hey, I didn't even think I didn't know if I was even going to call you back or not. She's like, when I seen all your messages, she goes, what do you mean? She goes, did you stay the night with me? And she's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
That was a big twist.
That's the part that made me go, dang. Okay.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
That took me back to 1408 moments. Like it was just like, oh no, you're not going to tell me my friend's not real.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean, man. It's psychological horror, man. It's just,
I'm telling you, you are absolutely going to love Identity.
Really?
I cannot wait to watch that. So, have we done, and I don't know if it's considered horror, so you may need to pull your phone out and look. Is Secret Window considered horror?
You know what?
But we do horror, thriller, anything of the horror genre.
I would almost probably say it's going to be a psychological aspect.
Yeah.
Because that is one of my favorite Johnny Depp movies.
Yeah.
And psychological thriller.
Okay.
It's happening.
We need to figure out what month we want to do it. And we'll do that. We'll do Secret Window and Identity.
See, you got a month planned out and you didn't even know you was getting it.
Yeah, so.
Don't know when it's going to be, but.
Right. But like I said, if you're new to the podcast, we always say we do films for the horror genre, and that's including thrillers, psychological, paranormal, whatever you can think of,
Doesn't always have to be blood and gore.
Right. But that is the best.
Sometimes I've seen a couple of cartoon movies that are just scary and creepy.
So is there anything else you can think of to talk about the film, man? Anything else stuck out to you?
No. I'm actually glad after a while we found one that we're just complete on opposite spectrums on. It's kind of nice.
It is. It's very rare that me and you're like, I mean, I gave it a D. I almost gave it a D minus, and I was like, I'll
smack you.
So, all right. Well, I guess with that being said, as always, we got to plug our stuff. So if you're listening to the podcast, be sure to go over to YouTube, click that subscribe button
down below.
Yeah.
There's a bell.
You're right.
This area.
So you'll never miss an episode. If you don't want to listen to us on YouTube or watch us on YouTube, check us out on all of our audios, which is iTunes.
We got it on Spotify,
Apple Podcasts,
Google Podcasts.
Yes. And please leave us a rating if you enjoy what we're putting out.
If you don't hit that star button.
Yeah. And leave us an actual rating and tell us in the comments, what you like about the podcast and, suggest movies. We do have a couple that has been asked to do, so we will check that out. But also our social media, our Facebook is Small Town Horror with Johnny and Randy. Our Instagram is Small Town Horror Johnny_Randy. You want to say.
Do it.
Our TikTok
Tiki-taki
is at Small Town Horror Podcast. And I may have said that Instagram wrong. It's Small Town Horror Johnny_Randy.
You're fired.
I couldn't remember how to say it.
You're fired.
Shoot, I didn't even know if I hit record a while ago when we started. So, but as always, we will be back with Heart Eyes. Yes, and we don't know if we're going to do it. We're going to do it after we see it from the theater, but we don't know if we're going to do it in the parking lot or if we're going to come back home and set up and do it. So we'll just kind of get that planned out.
If you want it fresh on my mind, we better do it in the parking lot.
Man, dang well you're pretty good about this stuff.
I mean, yeah, you ain't wrong.
So
as long as you get me the same day. If you wait till the next day, it's not happening.
Yeah. So with that being said, as always, remember to stay scared,
stay spooky.